I literally just woke up probably about 10 minutes ago. I'm sick. What is it? 7:14. That is late for me. I usually like to be up at like 5, and I'm pretty sure that's when I had my alarm set to go off, which means I've been snoozing for the last 2 hours, which is not good for your sleep. But I took NyQuil last night, so I haven't weighed myself yet. Well, it's not terrible, but it's not in the 120s like I would like. Your weight's just super variable, man. Hey, sweet baby. Poor little Lila's been limping. You can kind of tell. Hi, baby. Do you want breakfast? Is that what you want? You want breakfast? Okay. All right. Making my normal breakfast. Today is technically supposed to be a high carb day, but I'm not working out because I don't feel very good. So I'm just gonna have a typical low carb day. I'm just making an executive decision on that. Just making it a normal low carb day. So it is what it is. Now, when I'm making my eggs, people have asked me before why I get the white out of the egg and then throw the yolk away instead of using liquid egg whites. Mike likes to use liquid egg whites. I don't like to do that. The texture is different. I'll drink liquid egg whites. I know that sounds super gross to some people, but a cup is like 30 grams of protein, and it takes me less than 3 seconds to drink it. So it doesn't really taste that weird. They're pasteurized, whatever. But let's throw these away. Anyway, I prefer the texture of the yolks or the whites out of the egg. I prefer to do over easy versus scrambled, because if I want to scramble eggs, I'm putting cheese in it. I don't really like scrambled eggs without cheese in it. So I'll do that and then have my berries. I get exactly 56, or no, not 56. Oh, I'm out of berries. Amazing. Well, I have half a banana in here that I could eat, so I'm just gonna figure out what the equivalent amount of carbs is from this banana that I would typically be getting from blueberries. I think it's 10 grams worth, and I've actually done this once before, so I think it's literally like 60 grams weight of banana, which is not very much banana. Let me just show you. This isn't quite poverty macros, but this meal is gonna look like it. Yeah, watch this. This is like literally 50 grams worth, which is like nothing. Getting close. Perfect. That's how much banana I get. Here's who gets the West. Come here, bud. Are you afraid of the tripod? I got you, Bubba's. Would you like a banana? Good boy. Lele, come here. Come here, baby. Theo, you already had yours. Come here, Lele. Sit down. Good girl. Is it yum? So yum. Well, I'm gonna eat my breakfast, my sad bananas, and then I have a client call in 40 minutes, and then I'll finish my potatoes and my pumpkin gooey butter cake, and I'll probably get dressed at that point. Let's get y'all fed. We're gonna make this real quick, guys. I swear, my poor dogs are on all kinds of meds. Theo has a heart murmur, so he takes atenolol every day, which is a beta blocker, twice a day. Layla has crazy allergies. She's on Apoquel, which I hate that she takes Apoquel because it works by suppressing their immune function. This is an allergy treat, so I just put the Apoquel in the treat. It's not really a pill pocket, but it'll do. And then, because she injured herself from running, she's on an anti-inflammatory twice a day, every 12 hours. I'll also put that in a little bit of a treat. Maybe I can just mush it inside this other one. But yeah, it sucks. Okay, let's make some coffee. I'll tell you what, this machine will spoil you. You'll never go back to drip coffee again. It's amazing. Okay. I'm out of collagen, so I'm just putting a little bit of protein powder in my coffee. This is Formula One by First Form, and it's chocolate mint cookie, which I did this yesterday. I didn't think it was gonna be that good in coffee, but it actually is pretty good. Just doing half a scoop. By the way, this coffee isn't insanely hot, but if your coffee is insanely hot, when you put protein powder in it, it might cook the protein powder. So you have to like put an ice cube in your coffee to cool it down before you put in your protein powder. Oh yeah, I need that. Time for my supplements. GDA, Full Mega, multivitamin, joint health. I forgot to talk about this in my last video, but I do take some Biotica, inflammatory health as well. Vitamin D, magnesium. I think that's it for right now. All right, done with that. This weekend we have a Friendsgiving at our friend's house. They host every year. So I'm making 2 dishes that I have zero intention of eating. A pumpkin gooey butter dish and like a cheesy potato. I forget the actual name of it. It's not just called cheesy potatoes. It's called potatoes something. But I'm making both of those so I can show you guys that. Maybe it'll give you an idea for something you can bring to your family Thanksgiving. Pumpkin gooey butter cake is fire. If you've never heard of gooey butter cake, it's a St. Louis thing. It's not just a description, although it's both the name and a description. But that's what my friend said when I like texted the group chat what I was bringing. They were like, "Are you just describing the cake or what?" And I was like, "No, that's the name of it. It's a St. Louis thing." But I'm making a pumpkin version. Paula Deen has a recipe. Remember Paula Deen? Before she got canceled for, I guess, saying the N-word years ago. A video they found or a tweet or something like that. Anyway, she can make good cake. And it's a Paula Deen recipe, which means you know there's a ton of butter in it. Time check, 7:53, we're doing all right. All right, shoes, watch, let's go. All right, I am going to be right on time. Anywho, I'm on my way to train my client, Ashley. She's one of my best friends, and her husband is one of Mike's best friends. I started training her like 2-3 years ago when I'd first moved to Dallas. We met because our lash artist introduced us because she was looking for a trainer. And at the, like, I don't personal train. She's the only person I personal train. But my lash artist was like, why don't you at least just have a conversation with her? So I did. She was super sweet. And I was like, all right, this will work out. So we just worked out a deal. I come to her house every morning when she's here in town. They travel a lot. And we've just become very close. She's such a strong Christian. She's such a good leader to me. She's truly like I have a sister. We're just not very close. So she is, I hate to say it like this, but she's like the sister I never had. I mean, I can confide in her about literally anything. So it's just such a valuable part of my day to get to start my day by going to Ashley's house and training her and just getting my dose of girl time. It's just so fulfilling. She's also been working on becoming an influencer this year, and she's crushing it. She's grown her Instagram from literally nothing to like over 30,000 followers just by posting super consistently. And her biggest love is fashion. She's always been into fashion ever since she was a little kid. So she'll show a lot of the different pieces that she gets and like the fashion shows that she goes to. And she shows like insight into her life as well with her husband and her kiddos and like their travel and stuff. So she's just got a super interesting personal brand. But you guys should totally give her a follow because she has given me so much education on like putting outfits together. Just being in proximity to her, I've learned so much about like how to dress, you know, because all I ever wear is fitness clothes, athleisure. So anytime that I would have an event coming up, I would have to go buy new stuff because I don't have just stuff in my closet. And it would always stress me out. So now I've just been like slowly but surely collecting like staple pieces. So I always have something to wear and it feels so nice. You know,
to work this hard on my physique and to really enjoy the physique that I've built, but not to be able to dress up and enjoy it would suck. So I like the process of getting dressed up now. You know, being fit certainly helps with that, but also knowing what to wear helps with that. And you don't have to buy expensive things to dress well, just so you guys know. Anyway, I'm gonna go up and train her, and then I will show you the rest of my day.
As much as I don't feel like recording right now, I am making sure that I keep everybody posted on my YouTube that I am full board sick. I'm supposed to be going to a Friendsgiving today, but everybody has an infant and or is pregnant. So I texted the hostess and I was like, I feel good enough to socialize, but with all the little babies and Allison being pregnant, I should probably stay home, right? And she was like, usually I wouldn't think twice about it, but probably. So still cooking the 2 dishes that I planned on cooking to bring them. Mike is going to drop them off because he's going to say hi from a distance. So I've been like washing my hands every 30 seconds while I'm doing this. But I'm making Bel Air potatoes, which are like cheesy potatoes. They're super easy to make, really good Thanksgiving dish. Again, I planned on eating none of this. I'm just making it for them. But Bel Air potatoes, 6 russet potatoes, boil them in jacket, so in the skin till tender. Then you peel them, shred them, mix them with sour cream, some shredded cheddar cheese, and some chopped chives. Refrigerate it for 4 hours, and then you bake it and top it with cheese. Fire. Everyone always loves it. And then pumpkin gooey butter cake, which is a Paula recipe. So you know it has 2 sticks of butter in it, but it's the easiest cake in the world to make. It's like a 13 by 9 inch pan, and you make the crust with a box of yellow cake, Betty Crocker, easy yellow cake, 1 stick of butter. You mix that together, press it into the pan. Then the filling is, there's a couple spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, but a can of pumpkin, an 8-ounce package of cream cheese, softened, another stick of butter, and a box of powdered sugar. And you mix all that together, and then you pour it in, and then you bake it. That's really good with homemade whipped cream, but I'm not making that because I don't have really the means of doing that. I need to get a mixer so I can make that. These are starting to get a little tender. They need a little bit longer. So making those, Mike's gonna drop them off to our friends so they get to enjoy the deliciousness. And I'm gonna eat my typical meal prep because I'm sticking with my food. I also realized I totally forgot to play you guys my response on my check-in from my coach. Forgot this was running. Yesterday, I sent him my check-in, my photos, and he sent me a couple minutes, so I'll play that for you here in a second.
All right, so these pictures look insane. The brighter ones, which normally like that darker, shadowier lighting looks better, but the brighter pictures to me look even like showcase what you're actually working with even better. And dude, that's like, if you went on stage looking like that tomorrow, it's going to be real hard for anybody to fucking beat you. So, and we're going to look even better than that. So due to the fact that you're feeling kind of sick and stuff, I imagine there's probably some inflammation happening. It's also probably why your weight's up a little bit. With inflammation comes water retention. And not that I think you're retaining a lot because you look insane. These pictures look unbelievable. My point is, when that inflammation goes down, when you start feeling better, I think some of that water is going to dissipate and you're going to look even tighter than you already do, which is fucking spot on. So, super pumped about this check-in. So basically, where I don't want to change the plan or anything this week, I think we're in a really good spot. Basically, just take it easy, like get the steps in, but take it easy. Don't put too much stress on your body. To be honest with you, I would even say don't go to failure on any of your lifts until you feel 100% again. If you're feeling good enough to lift, then, lift, but just don't go to failure. Stop with like a couple reps in reserve on everything that you're doing. Keep in mind, we're not really building any muscle right now. So it's not going to hurt anything if you do that. We've been in enough of a deficit for you to basically not really be building any muscle, and that's really not the point. You have plenty. We just want to maintain it. And even training with like 1/6 the volume and intensity you typically do, and I'm citing a study, I'm not just making this up, you'll maintain muscle. So like I said, just back off on the training. You can go hard once you're feeling 100% again, but just back off on the training a little bit in terms of intensity. Step count, just kind of casually get your steps. Don't do anything super intense again until you feel 100%. We'll just let your body recuperate a little bit so that water retention goes down, cortisol goes down, stuff like that. And I think the look is going to be even better than it already is. And it's already real good. So really not much else to say for this week. Just, do your thing. If you have any questions about anything specific, just let me know. You could take a little additional like vitamin C or something if you want. That might make you feel a little bit better. Hard to say exactly, but that's just kind of a random suggestion. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it may or may not help. So anyway, yeah, that's all I got. So like I said, let me know if you need anything else.
Okay. I had to let my cream cheese soften for a little bit. I'm making pumpkin gooey butter cake. Gooey butter cake is a St. Louis dish, and the best recipe for regular gooey butter cake is Paula Deen. Boy, it's crazy how fatigued I am right now. But I'm doing a Paula Deen pumpkin gooey butter cake recipe, which is basically the same thing, but with the addition of some fall spices like nutmeg and cinnamon, and then a can of canned pumpkin. So first I'm gonna make the crust, which we're just gonna press into a greased 13 by 9 inch pan. And it's the easiest thing in the world. It's just 1 box of Betty Crocker, which is my favorite brand, yellow cake mix, and 1 stick of melted butter. So let's go ahead and melt this. I like to cut it up into cubes before I melt it, because it just helps it melt a little bit faster. So let me chop this up real quick. So let's put all that in my bowl. Uh-oh, lost a piece of butter. Okay, we're gonna melt this. 3 minutes to melt seems so excessive, but who knows? While that is melting, I just let my cream cheese sit out for a little bit to soften, which is gonna be the filling. We're not making the filling yet. We're just making the crust. So while we're doing this, I should probably stay on topic to, fitness. By now, well, I've already played the feedback from my coach. Very excited about my coach's feedback because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did struggle to get in all my steps this past week. My average is supposed to be 12,000, but I think my average is probably around 10,000-ish, maybe, give or take. Either way, coach thinks I look great, which that makes me happy, especially being a little under the weather right now. I would be freaking out if I was sick and I was also behind schedule. But if he says I could step on stage tomorrow and other people would have a hard time beating me, that makes me feel very confident. I don't want to feel overly confident, but I do want to feel confident. And my posing is getting a lot better. So I'm gonna go through a posing routine today, just to kind of talk through the different poses for you guys. Anybody who is watching this who's maybe wanting to compete themselves someday, I do suggest you get a posing coach. So I have a posing coach as well as my nutrition and training coach. Marcus is my coach for my whole plan and obviously progress, and then peak week, all of that. And then Katie is my posing coach. She's done like 11 bikini shows herself. She's a phenomenal posing coach. She has helped me improve in leaps and bounds. The very first time I did posing with her, I'll put the pictures up here of what my first posing looked like, and then I'll compare that with like my current posing. So I'll put those side by side because it's a pretty big difference. And your stage presence can be the reason that you lose, regardless of how good you look. Like, you need to be confident on stage. Your tan matters, how even it is. Your makeup matters. Like, I've heard that they'll take points off for bad makeup. But just your overall presence, like how you transition from pose to pose, the smoothness of it. So it's not just hitting the poses and holding them for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe even a minute when they're comparing you with other people. That's a challenge because it might not look like it when you look at the poses, but they're very difficult to hold because you are just clenched. Everything is engaged while you're in the pose position, which is where your glutes are up the entire time. So you have to like crank your back, like arch your back as much as humanly possible. And that's been hard for me because I can't recall if I've talked about this or not, but I had a lower back injury a few years ago. A lumbar strain is what they diagnosed it as. And ever since then, my back has not been the same. So you have your whole spine is supposed to be an S-curve, right? You have your cervical spine, which is your upper spine, your thoracic, which is your mid-back, and then your lumbar. So where my thoracic spine meets my lumbar spine, the TL junction, where those vertebrae meet, it's like straight. That's been my issue, is that I don't have a natural like curve there. So it's been very difficult for me to go from here to here because, I'll move this out of the way. So, and I'll show you this more, of course, when I'm going through posing. But my issue has been, I'm like, they call it dumping, where like you lean forward in your pose, but you need to be upright. So you have to be able to have this curve. And because I had the sticking point, I've had to do a lot of different stretches and mobility moves just to get better flexion in my spine so I can stay in that position comfortably. So doing those stretches and mobility before I pose, along with taking supplements to help with joint inflammation and joint pain. I take joint mobility and fish oil, like I told you guys in my last video. Those have made a night and day difference in helping me get into these positions without pain. Because at first it was excruciatingly painful for me to try to get into this position, which is why I wasn't able to get fully upright. So I'll take you through a posing routine today. You'll see that in this video. I'll talk through it. That way you can kind of get an understanding of like what's going through my mind when I am posing. And then for me, the last challenge is just the mental nervousness of being on stage and not being able to see myself while I'm posing. So I do have to practice posing, recording myself with the back camera. So I can't see myself because I have to know how it's supposed to feel in order to look right. Because it's easy to self-correct when I'm looking in the mirror. Because when I usually practice, I'll have my forward-facing camera up to record it, but I'll also like stick my camera to my mirror. I have one of those Octobuddy suction cup things in the back of my phone. So I can self-correct while I'm posing, but I obviously can't do that on stage. So I'll practice that, show you guys. If you have any questions, by all means, put them in the comments. Okay, my butter is basically totally melted. A couple little guys in there that will continue to melt. I'm gonna put the mix in first. Again, this is the easiest cake to make. If you are bringing something to Thanksgiving or you want a good dessert that's not just another pie, you've got to make this. I don't have a mixer. If you have a mixer, I would highly encourage that you use that for this. 1 full stick of butter. It smells so good. It's literally just cake and butter. I'll even like figure out the macros of this recipe and show you what like the macros per serving are, because it'll probably blow your mind. It's literally nothing but sugar and butter. We know Paula Deen loves her butter. Trying to get all that dust mixed in. This is where a mixer would for sure come in handy. The thing is, like, mixers are expensive and I don't bake enough to justify buying one. However, it is kind of like a lifelong purchase. So I'm gonna put some gloves on while I press this into the pan. I can sort of kind of mix all that together while I press it in. I'll put it up on the sides just a little bit. This is probably the most challenging part of this whole recipe, and it's not even a challenge. Literally couldn't be easier to make, so much easier than a pie. Having to make pie crust. Resist the temptation to eat bites of this while you're making it. Now that's done, on to mixing the filling. Really wish I had a mixer. Good enough? Okay, this is gonna take a while. It's mixing, but it's a little lumpy, so I'm actually going to use a whisk to help with this, although it's probably not something I would usually use. Probably gonna be just best case scenario here. Already getting a forearm pump. You don't want clumps, although it wouldn't ruin it. Starting to look smooth. We need to melt another stick of butter. 3 eggs, 1 teaspoon vanilla. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And 3 eggs. Another whole stick of butter. Isn't that bonkers to you? You're like, how could this possibly use more butter? Melted butter. Oh my goodness sakes alive. Still have to add the powdered sugar. Now it calls for a box of powdered sugar. I have to look up what a box typically is in weight because I have this bag of powdered sugar and it's definitely more than a box. Bad news, not really bad news. I don't have any nutmeg. I thought that I did, but I don't. So it calls for 1 teaspoon of nutmeg and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, but my mom told me to do just 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon and said most people don't even like, or some people at least don't even like nutmeg. So I'm gonna have to do that. 1.5 teaspoons, 3. Okay, good, that was 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, let's just mix that and then I'll put the rest in a second. Okay. All right, 6 more ounces, whoa. Come on. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. Okay, now we just pour it into, it is insane how easy this is and how good it tastes, but it's hard to go wrong with technically a 15-minute recipe that's nothing but cake, sugar, and butter. Now we're gonna put it in the oven at 350, bake for 40 to 50 minutes. The recipe says be careful not to overbake because you want the center to be a little gooey. Got to show the final result of my dish. Here's the cheesy potatoes. Man, they smell so good. And then I got the cake down here. Oh my gosh, I don't know what smells better. Potatoes or the gooey butter cake. Look how amazing that looks. That was when I checked the temperature, but wish I could eat some of this. But unfortunately, we cannot.
Not us.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go through it one time without talking, then I'll point out some things to you. Okay, so first pose is a challenge for me because of the back arching, which has gotten better with time. You're supposed to just be cranked the whole time, but also because when I get into my front pose, this leg wants to just stay locked out. But my coach wants me to have a slight bend in my knee to have a little bit more roundness to my hamstring, but it just feels a little bit more awkward for me. It's getting better, especially as I learn to put all my weight onto this foot. Posing is just like shifting your weight back and forth between foot to foot. So then I'm shifting to the back here, all my weight's here, and then now I'm shifting here again, driving into this glute so it looks round. And then here, of course, weight's all in my heels, arching my back, bringing my shoulders back, and I'm like planting and rotating my feet. So your feet are planted, toes are forward, but you're externally rotating to get in glute engagement here, which helps because I have an underdeveloped glute med. I'm already sweating, believe it or not. This is like, it's not as hard as like actual bodybuilders posing, but it's still a lot of clenching and it makes you hot. So, front pose. Lots of thoracic rotation. You need to stretch for this. Now at first, when I was transitioning from front pose to my T pose, which is this pose, I think it's called T pose, my coach, she does this. But that felt awkward and looked awkward when I did it. So she was like, well, just switch to one arm, which feels way more natural for me. So here's the thing. It's not just hitting your routine. It's also the transitions, of course, but also they're comparing you against other girls on stage. So they're gonna have you switch places. So you'll be lined up, you'll be just standing in this front pose. So I just practice holding it with a smile on my face. They'll be like, all right, competitors number 17 and 24, switch spots. You step back, you guys acknowledge the judges, raise your arm, see where the other girl is, and then switch spots with her. Your hand won't be on your hip the entire time, and then you go back into your front pose. They say that you want to try and cross in front of the other person, not behind, because you're both crossing in front of the line of girls. You're coming up, but they say that you want to be in front, and that sometimes it's like a game of chicken to see who's going to move out of the way. I don't feel confident in that dog in me to like battle it out on stage. So I feel like if I'm switching spots with somebody, I mean, my goal is going to be to like walk in front of them, of course, and then back to the spot they want me to be in, wherever her spot was. But man, if there's a girl up there who's trying to fight me on it, I'll probably just let her go, because I'd rather it be smooth than me like trying to like switch sides, right? So the hardest things for me so far, in the beginning at least, were my back arching, because I had this issue with my TL junction, but that's gotten a lot better. But no pain anymore, which is great. The second hardest thing is the transitions and making those smooth, because your stage presence does matter. I've seen pros do this, but you're not supposed to lean forward. And your hands aren't supposed to be visible. Sometimes I'm like this. I'm literally like standing like this. It looks crazy from the front. I mean, it looks crazy from all angles, but. And I also have this issue with this right shoulder that just wants to stay forward. I don't know if it's doing it right now. Of course, my hair won't be here in front of my mic. And then when you sign off, you can either like do this. I like the kick at the leg. Feels less awkward. I'm nervous about being on stage, if I'm being honest. Everything has been easy except the idea of being in front of all these people. My husband's gonna be out there, my coach, my mom's gonna be there. I'm just trying not to let that get in my head. I've been on stage before. I competed in figure 10 years ago. It's been so long though. It's almost like a dream I'm trying to remember. I barely remember how the day went. But I feel like the more I talk about it, that's not a good thing. If I keep talking about it being nerve-wracking, then it's gonna continue to be nerve-wracking. I just gotta act confident, man. Because again, your stage presence matters. Looking confident up there, being smooth with it. So I'm just gonna tell myself that it's excitement, not anxiety. Excitement and anxiety are the same emotion. It's all about how you define it. So I'm gonna go through it one more time. I have practice with my coach today, so this is good that I'm practicing ahead of time. We'll see how it goes. As usual, thank you so much for watching my YouTube, for following along with the documentation of these last 6 weeks. I am now pretty close to being 2 weeks out. It's 19 days today, so I'm still in like 3 weeks out right now. But I'll keep you guys updated on how my mindset's going. I have been getting hungrier, which I do take as a good sign. I'm just taking all of these challenges as positives. So if you like this type of content and you would like to see more of it, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I will always remind you guys I have a podcast coming out soon too called Tough Love Club. I'm really excited to introduce you guys to some of the topics I'll be talking about there. It won't just be fitness, it's gonna be self-development in general and tough love about anything that you could think of. So whether we're talking about personal development, spirituality, relationships, business. I have a lot of people who ask me about, you know, starting my own coaching business. Of course, fitness and discipline. That's going to be kind of the core component, but discipline shows up in all areas of your life, right? So can't wait to bring that to you guys as well. And let me know what other type of content that you would like to see.